He remembered that this was a disgusting orc's meat, but decided to try it anyway. The following morning, Jiro went back to the butcher and saw the mountain of meat he had prepared for him. The butcher handed him the 202 gold coins he had earned from all of the items that were left over, and gave him the magic stones that overflowed with mana potential since they were dropped by A-rank monsters and higher. While they walked around the city, Jiro realized that they needed to leave this place immediately, before the rest of the citizens discovered how rich he's become. Once they had made it outside of the kingdom's borders, Jiro realized that they were too rich to be eating some broke food, so he asked Fel if he would like to enjoy something new for tonight. With all the different options before their eyes, Jiro decided to buy some off-brand Panda Express, and Fel began drooling on him from seeing all the new tasty meats. 2 boxes appeared before their eyes, and Jiro put them all together for him to eat, while he prepared the most expensive Wagyu steak he could afford. When he was done, Fel was sad because of how small it is. However, Jiro told him that it's the heart that matters more, but remembered that his wife left him for a bigger persuasion. After being convinced, Fel decided to take a single bite, and realized that this was the best meat he'd ever eaten in his life, and begged him for more, so Jiro kept pouring him even more food. After they enjoyed their meal together, nighttime had arrived, and Fel felt like he was the most powerful being in existence. So Jiro decided to appraise his skills, and realized that his stats had increased by 50%. With all this energy, Fel wanted to light his heart ablaze, and go beyond his limits, so he casted a protection barrier around Jiro to protect him while he took off for the night. Once he was gone, Jiro created a makeshift futon, and fell asleep, while Fel continued running around the forest. Before long, he approached a rockbird that he took down with a single slash, and when a legendary moose appeared, Fel struck it down instantly with his lightning magic. Beneath him, hundreds of orcs gathered to fight him off, but just after he landed, Fel casted a wind tornado that blew all of them away. When the dust settled, the king of the orcs appeared and began rushing toward Fel, but he dodged his attack, and snuck up from the back, defeating him in an instant. Before he was able to take his meat away, a giant chimera appeared to threaten Fel, but he casted his ultimate lightning attack, sending it towards the monster to devour it. The night had finally passed, and Jiro wondered what the f he was seeing, so Fel told him that he had so much energy after last night, that he managed to destroy mythical beasts with a single attack. After hearing those words, Jiro decided to eternally remove Wagyu off the menu. As the days passed with Jiro feeding Fel, he wondered if Fel was able to defeat the monsters using magic, so Fel revealed that he was blessed by the goddess Ninrir to be the best wind magic user. However, Jiro wondered how he was supposed to use magic, and saw that his status window revealed he had 100 magic points, but still didn't know how to use any of them. So when he asked Fel how to use it, Fel revealed that he could just use magic by imagining the power flowing through your body. Jiro wondered how he could imagine a fireball coming out of him, and used all of his energy to unleash his ultimate spell. Fel made Jiro touch him to show him how magic flew through his body, so he told him to imagine the energy moving around like a river inside of him. With a bottle set up in front of him, Jiro finally managed to create a fireball. Fel called him a useless, pathetic loser, which isn't surprising considering how ugly he is, so he's going to force him into practicing on real monsters instead, and dragged him deep into the forest. As they snuck around a goblin camp, Fel howled to announce their location, causing all the goblins to start chasing after him. Fel told him that he was going to leave him to take care of some other monsters, and left Jiro alone. The goblins threw an axe to corner him, but Jiro began casting fireballs to burn their faces off. When he turned back to run, however, he tripped on a rock and the goblins jumped on top of him. Just before they slashed him down, a barrier saved him from being annihilated, so he started casting his fireballs to burn them away, and managed to destroy their entire front lines. With only 7 goblins remaining, Jiro released all of his energy into the last fireball to explode them in their place, but fell down after depleting all of his mana. However, some of the goblins were still standing and ready to destroy him, so Fel stepped in front of them to protect him as he fell unconscious. At night, Jiro woke up screaming, but Fel asked him if he enjoyed his first battle. Jiro told him he had more fun when kids roasted his mom for being so fat at school, and started crying remembering how bad his memories were. But Fel laughed at him and said he doesn't need to worry about his mom because he used to take care of her at night. Fel sensed that his magical level went up, and Jiro noticed that he went up 10 levels, so Fel presented him with a little gift, and told him to take the magical stone from the Goblin King he hunted. However, he knew those magical stones could be exchanged for money, so he begged Jiro to give him some Wagyu steak from his world in exchange. But Jiro screamed at him, saying that he would never let him eat it ever again. As he got up to walk away, he realized that all of his energy was still depleted, so he decided to just buy some food out for today, and began opening hundreds of dessert packs. This was the greatest thing Fel had ever smelled, so he decided to give it a try, and after a single bite, he began devouring all of the sweets and loved the Boston cream because of the sticky white load of milk that came out of it. After he finished the entire bowl, he begged Jiro for even more food, but when Jiro told him that he might end up getting diabetes from eating like Yuya before he entered the other world, Fel revealed that his blessing from the goddess allows him to be immune from all negative status effects. Knowing how powerful he is, Jiro begged the Buddha or any god listening to bless him already, so a goddess heard his words and smiled at him. The following morning, the guards surrounded Jiro again for having the ugliest face in the kingdom. But when he showed them his guild card and assured them that Fel was just a great wolf, the guards allowed him to go inside. However, Fel's voice screeched into his head, saying that he isn't a great wolf, and told him that he can telepathically communicate with him whenever he wanted to. But he never used that ability because he thought it would be useless, and didn't want to hurt Jiro's brain. When they got inside, Jiro was about to leave Fel inside the shed, but he asked him if he's leaving him for another wolf. When Jiro told him that he was just looking for a map, Fel said that whoever this map girl Jiro's going to see is probably ugly. Hearing his words, Jiro told him to stop acting like a tsundere, but Fel called him a baka and told him that he doesn't know what a tsundere is and called him a baka again. When Jiro arrived at the library, he asked the librarian if he sold any maps, but the man said that they were considered national treasure, crushing all of his dreams. He thought that the big central library might contain a map in there, but the entire day passed, and he wasted $500 just to enter. By the time he got back, Fel was sad that he spent all his day with a different wolf, and Jiro realized that his day was only getting worse, so he decided to buy him a new type of food from his world. As he tasted the food, he completely forgot about the other wolf, so it goes to show you guys, it's okay to cheat, as long as you buy your partner some McDonald's once you meet. Because after you give them that treat, they'll think that you're actually sweet. And if they're still not going into heat, then just show them your long meat. As Fel kept chewing down on the food, he thought Jiro's meat was the best thing he had ever tasted in his life, and kept stuffing it down his throat. Eventually, Jiro's rice was ready, so he began dipping his meat in some sauce, and placed it on top of the rice so that it would gain a richer flavor. The fat fuck stared at his food while drooling, and begged him to feed him again. The next day at the PG Grape Juice Distillery, Jiro decided to ask a bunch of men if they had time for his questions. But when they told him to piss off, Jiro offered to buy them some apple cider vinegar, so they started being friendly and told him that he can ask anything he desired. Jiro revealed that he's been traveling around the world, and asked them if they knew of a way to get access to maps, so the travelers stared at each other and smiled. The leader told him that he has a map that he obtained illegally, so he told him to keep his mouth quiet, and handed him a copy of his map. He told him that even though it's made out of expensive paper, he's willing to give it to him for the cheap price of $1,000. So Jiro thought about it long and hard and decided to pay the gold coin for it. The men wished him good luck before leaving, but all the people drinking began bursting in laughter in his face. They asked him if he bought a map, and showed him that they had them as well, explaining that the Adventurers Guild hands them out for $1. The entire place started laughing at him, and Jiro was angry that he fell for the oldest RuneScape scam of all time. But the men said it was his fault for being a useless, ugly moron. While they walked in the forest, Fel tried comforting him because money can always be gained back, but his face can never be fixed.
What did he say?
As they continued traveling, the goddess of the wind wondered how an ugly human like Jiro could be the boss of her legendary pet. Days passed with Fel carrying Jiro on his back and throwing him around until they finally arrived to a lake, where Fel wanted to take a break so he could eat some fish. And when Jiro told him that they don't have a fishing rod, Fel stood his ground and summoned his lightning powers to electrocute the entire lake in front of him, destroying all the fish in an instant. Jiro began picking the fish up from the water and saw that one of them was the king of the trouts, but Fel was more interested in a pink fish because it tingled his mouth. However, Jiro saw that it was a poisonous type and threw it away, telling him that he's not going to risk his life just because Fel wanted to eat some sushi. Once he was done collecting all the fish, Jiro began looking for firewood for the fire he was going to start, and began shopping sauces on his off-brand Kroger. After cutting all of the fish apart and placing them on sticks, he began cooking them, and sprinkled some flour on the fillets to fry them in his pan. Fel thought that some of them were finally ready, so Jiro prepared their bowls, and when they both took a bite, they realized how delicious it truly was. But this wasn't enough for Jiro, so he cracked a cold one open for the boys, because he would never get any girls. Why am I clowning on this dude all video? I'm starting to feel bad for him. If you made it to this part, make sure to spam rip the doctor in the comments section, because it makes absolutely no fucking sense this time. Once they were finally done eating all of the fish, Jiro began walking around and accidentally bumped into a little slime. Jiro poked him, thinking that he's plushy and jiggly, so Fel told him that this is the only jiggly thing he's ever going to feel. The cute slime tried to comfort Jiro after how hard he just got clapped, and Jiro saw that the poor slime was only 3 days old, so he would probably get destroyed by all the goblins if he was to stay alone. It began moving up and down, so Jiro wondered if it was hungry, and it began hopping away until it found a plastic bottle to dissolve. Once it was done, it started eating all the leftover trash, but Jiro stopped it from devouring his pan, and the cute slime began hopping away to eat the plates instead. Jiro put all the food away after letting him clean them up, and the slime jumped in excitement onto his lap, and a heart appeared when he began petting it. Fel revealed that the slime was now a familiar of his, because it wished to be his familiar, and he accepted his feelings. When he looked at the status, he saw that the baby slime was now part of his familiars, so Fel told him to give it a name. After thinking of one for a little, Jiro decided to name it Sui, and the slime loved his new name. In the morning, Sui came out of the backpack, and Jiro realized that it's already been leveling up since eating his otherworldly items. Fel was hungry, so Jiro decided to prepare food for both of them, and allowed Sui to eat some of the real-world food as well, and they began eating it all together. By nighttime, Jiro was glad that Sui was able to wash all his dishes, because he would never be able to get a wife to do that for him. He hugged Sui, glad that he found someone who could actually help him instead of the useless Fenrir that just devoured all his food like a gluttonous lard. When the morning arrived, Sui tried waking him up, and Fel revealed that he has something important to talk with him about. The goddess of the wind has delivered an important message to him, and said that she'd be willing to bless him immunity to all diseases. But there is a single condition. Every week, she wants to get an offering of his otherworldly sweets, and Fel told him that he should not question her divine judgment. But if he were to ever forget about his sweet offerings, he will feel the divine wrath of the strongest goddess in this world. So Jiro got on his knees and began praying right away, but Fel told him that he needed to offer some melon bread and cream buns if he wanted to receive the blessings. Jiro offered his tribute, and the food instantly vanished before his eyes, causing a magical aura to appear around him. Fel revealed that this was the blessing of the goddess, but in the other dimension, the goddess was glad to finally try the sweets they'd been eating this entire time. When she tasted how good the cream bun was, and tasted the chocolate milk, she realized that she would run out of all of her sweets within the first 10 minutes, but she couldn't hold herself back, and regretted not asking for more. With the new blessing he'd received, Jiro's stone bullet was able to shoot straight into the tree, and he kept practicing all day until all of his energy had been drained. But he knew there was a way to exploit this world's system. In his backpack, he had saved a chocolate bar and a drink that would give him wings, so his energy got restored right away. Sui begged for some of the food as well, and they sat together to relax for the rest of the day, thinking that it's awfully peaceful ever since Fel ran off. Speaking of the devil, the fucker returned, and wondered if they were eating food behind his back, so Fel begged him to eat some of his chocolate, but Jiro warned him that once he went black, he'd never go back. He told him it would be better than his little persuasion anyway, so Jiro reluctantly began buying him chocolate. As Fel devoured the food, the goddess began speaking into Jiro's ear, and told him that she wanted him to prepare her some chocolate right away, and send her even more of his sweets. Jiro wondered if this was truly a divine message, but she told him to hurry up and give her his food before she struck him down with lightning. Jiro was pissed off that he had to deal with another fatso, but she told him to hurry up and send them already, so he realized his life was about to be awful feeding 2 fatsos. The food vanished in front of him, and Fel congratulated him on finally talking to a girl in his life, because he was about to stay a lonely, disgusting, ugly fatso loser like Yui's disgusting, isolated lard mole looking at. Watch this next video. Till next time, my fellow legendary plot masters.